The night was unusually quiet, as if the universe itself had paused to witness what was about to unfold. Across the galaxy, whispers of an event that defied explanation spread like wildfire. On Earth, people went about their lives unaware that something extraordinary was about to happen. It started with astronomers around the world noticing strange disturbances in their telescopes. Stars that had shone brightly for centuries were suddenly disappearing from view. At first, scientists thought it was a glitch or some kind of atmospheric interference. They recalibrated their equipment, checked their data, and even consulted with colleagues in other countries. But no matter what they did, the stars kept vanishing. Amateur stargazers soon began posting videos online. Their shaky footage showed something massive blotting out the sky. The shapes were irregular but unmistakably artificial, too large and too precise to be natural phenomena. Social media platforms lit up with speculation. Some claimed it was a government experiment gone wrong. Others believed it was proof of alien life finally revealing itself. Conspiracy theories ran rampant, but no one could deny that something was happening above Earth. As the days passed, tensions grew. Governments held emergency meetings behind closed doors. Military bases went on high alert. News channels broadcast non-stop coverage, showing blurry images of the dark shapes looming just beyond the clouds. People gathered in parks and open fields, staring upward, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever was hiding there. Fear mingled with curiosity as humanity waited for answers. Then, without warning, the skies parted. A deafening roar filled the air as massive metallic structures descended from the heavens. These weren't ordinary spaceships, they were colossal star destroyers, each one larger than any city on Earth. Their sleek surfaces gleamed under the fading sunlight, reflecting an otherworldly brilliance. Slowly, almost deliberately, they positioned themselves in formation above the planet. Entire continents fell into shadow as the ships cast their enormous silhouettes across the land. For a moment, the world stood still. No explosions rocked the cities. No beams of energy rained down from above. The star destroyers simply hovered there, silent and unmoving. Humanity watched in stunned silence, unsure whether this was salvation or doom. Were these vessels here to save Earth, to conquer it, or perhaps to observe? No one knew, and that uncertainty was more terrifying than anything else. Far beyond Earth's orbit, news of the unfolding events reached the ears of countless alien civilizations. For centuries, Earth had been seen as insignificant, a primitive, backwater planet unworthy of attention. Its inhabitants were viewed as weak, divided, and easily manipulated. Many extraterrestrial species had exploited Earth's resources, conducted secret experiments on its people, or dismissed it entirely as irrelevant. But now, everything had changed. The appearance of the star destroyers sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Rumors swirled about ancient prophecies predicting Earth's rise. Some spoke of a long-forgotten race that once ruled the stars, whose technology might have been rediscovered by humans. Others whispered of a hidden alliance between Earth and a powerful unknown force. Whatever the truth was, one thing became clear. Humanity was no longer a species to be underestimated. On a distant moon orbiting a gas giant, a council of elders convened in a dimly lit chamber. Holographic projections displayed images of Earth's star destroyers, their sheer size dwarfing everything else in the frame. The elders debated furiously, their voices tinged with fear. "This cannot be," one elder hissed, slamming his fist on the table. "We've monitored them for centuries. They were supposed to remain docile, fragmented, powerless." Another elder leaned forward, her glowing eyes narrowing. "Clearly, we underestimated them. Something has awakened within them, something dangerous." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "If we do not act carefully, they may become a threat not only to us but to the entire galaxy." Meanwhile, aboard a scout ship patrolling the edges of known space, a young pilot named Zixar stared at the live feed of Earth's skies breaking apart. His mandibles twitched nervously as he processed what he was seeing. Growing up, he had heard stories of Earth's fragility, how its people squabbled over trivial matters while ignoring the greater threats lurking in the cosmos. Yet here they were, unveiling weapons of unimaginable power. Zixar felt a chill run down his spine. He remembered his mentor's warning, never anger the humans. At the time, he had laughed it off, thinking it was just another exaggerated tale meant to scare cadets. Now he wasn't so sure. Back on Earth, reactions varied wildly. In bustling metropolises, crowds gathered in streets and squares, pointing upward in awe. Children tugged at their parents' sleeves, asking if the ships belonged to superheroes come to protect them. Religious leaders proclaimed the arrival of divine intervention, interpreting the event as either a blessing or a sign of impending judgment. Scientists worked tirelessly to analyze the composition of the Star Destroyers, hoping to understand their origin and purpose. Politicians delivered impassioned speeches, calling for unity in the face of the unknown. But not everyone reacted with wonder. In remote villages and impoverished neighborhoods, skepticism reigned. Many saw the Star Destroyers as yet another tool of oppression, convinced that the rich and powerful would use them to tighten their grip on society. Protests erupted in several cities, with angry mobs chanting slogans against perceived injustices. "Why should we trust them?" shouted a man holding a makeshift sign. "They'll sell us out the first chance they get." Nearby, a woman clutched her child tightly, tears streaming down her face. "What if they're not ours?" she whispered. "What if they're here to take us away?" Despite the chaos, a sense of hope began to emerge. For the first time in human history, the planet seemed united, not by shared ideals, but by shared fear. Nations put aside their differences, pooling resources and intelligence to prepare for whatever came next. Scientists collaborated across borders, sharing data and insights. Even rival corporations set aside their competition, working together to develop technologies capable of interfacing with the mysterious Star Destroyers. As hours turned into days, the initial panic gave way to cautious optimism. The Star Destroyers remained stationary, offering no indication of hostility. Some dared to believe that Earth had finally found allies among the stars. Others speculated that humanity had somehow created these vessels themselves, harnessing knowledge buried deep within ancient ruins or reverse engineering alien tech scavenged from crashed ships. Whatever the truth, one fact remained undeniable. Earth was no longer alone. Yet, amidst the excitement, a darker question lingered in the minds of many. If these Star Destroyers were indeed a show of strength, who or what had provoked such a response? The answer lay buried in Earth's recent past, a chapter marked by suffering, resilience, and an unyielding determination to survive. It was a story of betrayal, rebellion, and sacrifice, a story that had shaped humanity into the formidable force it had become. And though few outside Earth knew the full extent of what had transpired, those who did understood one thing clearly: humanity's wrath was not to be underestimated. As the Star Destroyers continued to dominate the skies, humanity braced itself for what lay ahead. Little did they know, their actions in the coming days would reverberate across the galaxy, cementing their place in the annals of cosmic history. For better or worse, the universe now knew one indisputable truth: Earth was awake, and it was ready to defend itself. The Star Destroyers loomed above Earth, their immense presence casting long shadows over cities and oceans alike. For days, humanity held its collective breath, waiting for some sign of what these colossal vessels intended to do. The silence was deafening, broken only by the hum of speculation that buzzed across every corner of the planet. People whispered in hushed tones about alien invasions, divine interventions, or even the end of the world. But as hours stretched into days, a realization began to dawn. These ships weren't here to attack. They were watching and waiting. It wasn't until the fifth day that something finally happened. At precisely 3:47 p.m., Greenwich Mean Time, every television, radio, and internet-connected device on Earth received a transmission. It wasn't in words, but in images, vivid, haunting scenes that played out like a nightmare come to life. The first image showed a lush green planet, teeming with life. Rivers snaked through fertile plains. Forests stretched endlessly toward the horizon, and creatures roamed freely under twin suns. Then, the scene shifted. A fleet of sleek, insect-like ships descended from the sky, firing beams of energy that scorched the land below. Forests burned, rivers dried up, and entire cities crumbled into dust. The inhabitants of the planet, beings with translucent skin and elongated limbs, fled in terror, only to be captured by mechanical drones and loaded onto massive cargo ships. The next sequence depicted another world, this one covered in shimmering blue oceans dotted with floating islands. Its people, amphibious beings with gills and webbed hands, lived in harmony with their environment. But once again, the same fate befell them. The insect-like ships returned, harvesting the oceans dry and reducing the islands to barren wastelands. The final image showed Earth itself, a fragile blue marble suspended in the vastness of space. The message was unmistakable. Earth was not alone in its suffering. Countless other worlds had been ravaged by the same invaders, the Vorthax. For decades, humanity had suspected that extraterrestrial life existed, but nothing could have prepared them for the truth revealed in those images. The Vorthax were no benevolent explorers. They were predators, scavengers who preyed on weaker civilizations. Their modus operandi was simple yet devastating. Identify resource-rich planets, exploit their ecosystems, enslave their populations, and move on when there was nothing left to take. What made this revelation even more chilling was the realization that Earth had already fallen victim to their schemes. Centuries earlier, humanity had unknowingly served as pawns in the Vorthax's grand design. Ancient texts spoke of strange lights descending from the heavens, abducting villagers and leaving behind scorched earth. Modern history recorded unexplained phenomena, disappearances, mutilations, and inexplicable technological advancements that seemed to appear out of nowhere. Governments dismissed these incidents as hoaxes or natural disasters, but the truth was far darker. The Vorthax had been manipulating Earth for centuries, siphoning its resources and experimenting on its people, while remaining hidden in plain sight. But humanity's awakening began not with a bang, but with a whisper. In 2047, a group of rogue scientists and engineers uncovered evidence of the Vorthax's activities. Buried deep beneath Antarctica's icy surface, they found remnants of alien technology, twisted alloys, crystalline structures pulsating with energy, and cryptic symbols etched into metallic plates. These artifacts became the foundation of humanity's resistance. Reverse engineering the alien tech, researchers developed breakthroughs in energy generation, propulsion systems, and artificial intelligence. Slowly but surely, humanity began arming itself against an enemy it barely understood. The turning point came during the siege of Antarctica. The Vorthax, realizing their secrets had been exposed, launched a full-scale assault on the research facility. Waves of insectoid drones swarmed the base, their razor-sharp appendages slicing through walls and shredding anything in their path. Inside, a small group of scientists and soldiers fought desperately to protect their work. Armed with prototype weapons powered by stolen Vorthax energy cores, they managed to hold their ground, but at a terrible cost. By the time reinforcements arrived, the facility was in ruins, and most of the team lay dead or dying. Yet amidst the carnage, they achieved victory. The data they had salvaged contained critical information about the Vorthax's weaknesses, giving humanity its first real chance to fight back. Word of the siege spread quickly, igniting a global movement. Nations that had once been divided by politics and ideology now stood united under a single banner: survival. Factories repurposed themselves to produce advanced weaponry. Universities trained engineers and strategists around the clock. Even ordinary citizens contributed, volunteering their skills and resources to aid the war effort. Humanity's resolve hardened, forged in the fires of tragedy and loss. Every death, every destroyed city, every shattered dream fueled their determination to reclaim their planet and exact vengeance upon those who had wronged them. As the years passed, humanity transformed itself into a force to be reckoned with. Cities rebuilt themselves stronger and smarter. incorporating alien-inspired designs that blended functionality with resilience. Skyscrapers gleamed with self-repairing materials. Highways hummed with vehicles powered by clean fusion reactors, and hospitals cured diseases once thought incurable. But beneath this veneer of progress lay a darker truth. Humanity had learned cruelty from its oppressors. Interrogation chambers housed prisoners of war, Vorthax scouts captured during skirmishes. Laboratories dissected alien corpses, extracting knowledge at any cost, and battlefields were littered with the remains of both human and Vorthax soldiers, reminders of the price of freedom. Despite the atrocities committed on both sides, humanity's greatest weapon was neither its technology nor its tactics, it was its unity. Where the Vorthax relied on fear and domination, humans thrived on cooperation and innovation. Families supported soldiers overseas. Scientists shared discoveries openly. Artists painted murals depicting heroes rising from the ashes of destruction. Even children played games inspired by the conflict, imagining themselves as pilots of star destroyers or commanders leading troops into battle. This collective spirit gave humanity strength, propelling them closer to victory with each passing day. The final confrontation took place in orbit above Earth. Using the data recovered from Antarctica, humanity constructed a fleet of star destroyers, armed with weapons capable of piercing the Vorthax's defenses. When the Vorthax fleet approached expecting an easy victory, they were met with a barrage of firepower unlike anything they had encountered before. Plasma cannons tore through their ranks, disintegrating ships mid-flight. Quantum disruptors disabled their engines, leaving them adrift and vulnerable. Within hours, the Vorthax fleet was decimated, their flagship reduced to a smoldering wreck drifting aimlessly through space. As the dust settled, humanity emerged victorious, but scarred. Entire continents bore the scars of battle, their landscapes forever altered by explosions and radiation. Millions mourned loved ones lost in the struggle. Yet, despite the devastation, a sense of pride permeated the air. Humanity had proven itself capable of standing toe-to-toe with galactic overlords and winning. More importantly, they had done so without losing sight of their humanity. Acts of kindness flourished in the aftermath of the war. Survivors helped rebuild shattered communities. Veterans shared stories of camaraderie and sacrifice, and leaders vowed never to let such oppression happen again. News of Earth's triumph spread across the galaxy, inspiring hope among oppressed species and striking fear into the hearts of tyrants. Civilizations that had suffered under the Vorthax's rule began plotting rebellions, emboldened by Earth's example. Others sent emissaries to Earth, seeking alliances or offering gratitude. For the first time in history, humanity found itself at the center of galactic politics, not as victims but as victors. Yet even as celebrations erupted across the planet, a sobering question lingered. What would humanity do with its newfound power? Would it use its star destroyers to protect the weak and uphold justice? Or would it succumb to the same temptations that had driven the Vorthax to tyranny? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. Humanity's wrath had reshaped the cosmos, proving beyond doubt that anger, when channeled properly, could change the course of destiny. And so, as the star destroyers continued to watch over Earth, the galaxy watched back, with admiration, trepidation, and awe. The days following the siege of Antarctica marked a turning point in humanity's history. The star destroyers, once an enigma, now served as symbols of Earth's resilience and newfound strength. But their presence wasn't just a show of military might. It was a declaration to the galaxy that humanity was no longer willing to be preyed upon. As word of Earth's victory over the Vorthax spread across the stars, reactions ranged from admiration to outright terror. For oppressed civilizations, Earth became a beacon of hope, a testament to the idea that even the weakest could rise against their oppressors. For tyrants and empires, however, Earth represented something far more dangerous: unpredictability. In Io, the weeks after the transmission revealing the Vorthax's atrocities, humanity faced a dilemma. What should they do next? Should they retaliate against the Vorthax for centuries of exploitation? Or should they focus on rebuilding their own world and forging alliances with other species. Debates raged within the newly formed United Earth Council, UEC, a coalition of leaders representing every nation on the planet. Some argued for vengeance, believing that the Vorthax deserved nothing less than total annihilation. Others cautioned restraint, warning that such aggression might provoke retaliation from other alien powers who viewed Earth as a threat. Amidst these heated discussions, a young engineer named Maya Patel emerged as an unlikely voice of reason. Maya had played a pivotal role in reverse engineering the Vorthax technology found in Antarctica, and her brilliance had earned her a seat at the UEC's table. Though only in her late 20s, she possessed a wisdom that belied her age. During one particularly contentious meeting, Maya stood up and addressed the council with quiet confidence. "We've spent centuries being divided," she began, her voice steady but firm. "Now we're united, not because we want revenge, but because we want justice. Revenge is easy. It burns bright and fades quickly. Justice, however, requires patience, strategy, and compassion." Maya proposed a bold plan. Instead of launching an all-out assault on the Vorthax, she suggested using the Star Destroyers as tools of diplomacy rather than destruction. Her team had been working on a quantum communication device capable of transmitting messages across vast distances of space. With this technology, Earth could broadcast its message directly to the Vorthax and to anyone else listening. "Let's tell them what we stand for," Maya urged. "Let's make it clear that we're not here to conquer or dominate. We're here to protect, not just ourselves, but anyone who has suffered under tyranny." Her proposal sparked both excitement and skepticism. While many admired Maya's vision, others questioned whether it was naive to believe that diplomacy could work in a universe filled with predators like the Vorthax. Nevertheless, the council voted in favor of her plan. Over the next few weeks, teams of engineers, linguists, and diplomats worked tirelessly to craft a message that would resonate across the galaxy. They included images of Earth's diverse cultures, recordings of music and art, and translations of their declaration into dozens of known alien languages. The final statement was simple, yet powerful. "To those who seek peace, we offer friendship. To those who bring harm, we promise resistance." When the message was transmitted, the reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Across the galaxy, civilizations tuned in, curious to hear from the species that had defeated the Vorthax. Some responded with gratitude, sending messages of solidarity and offers of alliance. Others reacted with hostility, viewing Earth's declaration as a challenge to their dominance. Among the latter was the Zenari Dominion, a militaristic empire notorious for crushing dissent and expanding its territory through brute force. The Zenari leader, Emperor Kyle, watched the transmission with growing unease. His throne room, adorned with trophies from conquered worlds, felt smaller somehow as he stared at the holographic projection of Earth's star destroyers. "This cannot stand," he growled, his voice echoing through the chamber. Turning to his advisors, he demanded an explanation. How did they acquire such power? Why were we not informed sooner? One advisor hesitated before speaking. "My lord, our intelligence underestimated them. We believed they were fractured and weak. Clearly, we were mistaken." Kale slammed his fist on the armrest of his throne, causing the entire structure to tremble. "Mistaken? You call this a mistake? This is incompetence." Determined to assert his authority, Kyle ordered a fleet of warships to intercept Earth's star destroyers. If humanity thought it could defy galactic norms without consequence, he would teach them otherwise. Unbeknownst to him, Earth's star destroyers were equipped with technology far superior to anything the Zenari possessed. Powered by energy cores derived from Vorthax tech, the ships were capable of generating impenetrable shields, firing devastating plasma cannons, and deploying swarms of autonomous drones. Moreover, Earth scientists had developed algorithms that allowed the ships to predict enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. When the Zenari fleet approached Earth's orbit, they expected an easy victory. After all, the Zenari had never encountered a species capable of standing against them. Their arrogance blinded them to the danger lurking ahead. As the first wave of Xenari ships opened fire, Earth's star destroyers activated their defensive systems. Shields shimmered into existence, deflecting barrages of plasma torpedoes and laser beams. Retaliatory strikes came swiftly, vaporizing entire squadrons in seconds. The battle lasted mere minutes, ending with the complete annihilation of the Xenari fleet. No survivors remained to report back to Emperor Kale. Footage of the engagement leaked online almost instantly, spreading across social media platforms and news outlets worldwide. People gathered around screens, watching in awe as Earth's star destroyers effortlessly dismantled the Xenari fleet. Cheers erupted in streets and squares, with strangers hugging and celebrating as if they had won the lottery. For the first time in human history, Earth felt truly safe, not because of luck or divine intervention, but because of its own ingenuity and determination. But the victory came with consequences. News of the Xenari's defeat sent shockwaves through the galaxy, drawing mixed reactions. Some species hailed Earth as liberators, seeing the event as proof that tyrants could be toppled. Embassies opened on Earth's surface, with ambassadors arriving bearing gifts and treaties. Trade agreements were signed, cultural exchanges flourished, and joint research initiatives began exploring new frontiers of science and technology. Humanity, once dismissed as insignificant, now found itself at the center of galactic politics. However, not everyone welcomed Earth's rise. Whispers of resentment spread among rival empires, who feared losing their grip on power. Secret meetings took place in shadowy corners of space stations, where leaders plotted ways to counter Earth's influence. Propaganda campaigns painted humanity as arrogant upstarts, claiming that their actions threatened the delicate balance of interstellar relations. Meanwhile, rogue factions launched covert attacks on Earth's allies, hoping to provoke a response that would justify retaliation. Despite these challenges, Earth remained steadfast. Under Maya's guidance, the UEC implemented policies aimed at fostering trust and cooperation. Diplomatic missions traveled to distant planets, offering aid to struggling civilizations and mediating conflicts between warring factions. Earth's star destroyers patrolled the skies, serving not as instruments of war but as guardians of peace. Slowly but surely, humanity earned a reputation as a fair and just species, one that valued collaboration over conquest. Yet, amidst the celebrations and diplomatic successes, a sobering truth lingered. Earth's newfound power carried immense responsibility. Every decision made by the UEC had far-reaching consequences, affecting not just humanity, but countless other species. The line between protector and oppressor was thin, and the temptation to abuse their strength loomed ever-present. Maya often reminded her colleagues of this fact during council meetings. "Power doesn't corrupt us," she would say. "It reveals who we truly are. Let's choose wisely." As years passed, Earth continued to evolve. Cities grew taller, economies thrived, and innovations reshaped daily life. But perhaps the most profound change was psychological. Humanity no longer saw itself as a fragile, divided species clinging to survival. Instead, it embraced its role as a guardian of justice, a force capable of inspiring hope and instilling fear. The Star Destroyers, once mysterious and terrifying, now symbolized unity and resilience. And though the galaxy remained vast and unpredictable, one thing was certain: humanity's wrath had rewritten the rules of the cosmos. Far beyond Earth's borders, alien civilizations whispered tales of the blue planet's rise. Parents told their children bedtime stories about the day Earth's skies parted to reveal Star Destroyers. Leaders referenced Earth's example in speeches, urging their people to strive for greatness. And tyrants, hidden in the shadows of their thrones, muttered warnings to themselves: never anger the humans. For they were no longer the fragile, divided species of old. They were architects of a new era, an era defined by courage, compassion, and an unyielding pursuit of justice. The aftermath of the Xenari fleet's destruction sent ripples across the galaxy, shaking the foundations of interstellar politics. For centuries, the Xenari dominion had ruled through fear, crushing rebellions and expanding its borders without mercy. Their defeat at the hands of Earth's star destroyers was not just a military loss, it was a humiliation that shattered their aura of invincibility. News of the battle spread like wildfire, carried by trade routes, diplomatic channels, and even rogue smugglers eager to capitalize on the chaos. Civilizations that had once trembled under the Zanari's shadow now dared to dream of freedom. Others, however, saw Earth's rise as a threat to their own dominance. In the weeks following the engagement, embassies began appearing on Earth's surface, each one representing a species or faction seeking an alliance. Some came bearing gifts, precious metals, advanced technology, or rare artifacts as tokens of goodwill. Others arrived with humble requests for protection, hoping to shelter under Earth's wing from predatory empires. The United Earth Council, UEC, welcomed these visitors with open arms, hosting grand ceremonies in their honor. Leaders from across the galaxy marveled at Earth's diversity, marveling at how humanity had managed to unite despite its many differences. "You are proof," said Ambassador Trelk of the aquatic Luminaris species during one such ceremony, "that strength lies not in uniformity but in unity." But not all reactions were positive. Rival powers viewed Earth's growing influence with suspicion, interpreting its actions as a bid for galactic supremacy. The Kryn Collective, a coalition of mercenary guilds known for their ruthlessness, issued a formal warning to the UEC. "Your star destroyers may intimidate some, but they will not cow us. Do not mistake kindness for weakness." Meanwhile, the Draconis hegemony, a sprawling empire ruled by dragon-like beings obsessed with conquest, dispatched spies to infiltrate Earth's defenses. These covert operatives posed as traders, scholars, and diplomats, gathering intelligence while feeding false information back to their masters. Amidst this volatile landscape, Maya Patel continued to play a pivotal role in shaping Earth's future. Recognizing the need for transparency, she spearheaded the creation of the Galactic Outreach Program, GOP, an initiative designed to foster trust between Earth and other species. Through the GOP, Earth shared its technological advancements openly, offering blueprints for clean energy reactors, medical breakthroughs, and sustainable farming techniques. In return, partner civilizations contributed knowledge of their own, enriching humanity's understanding of the universe. "Knowledge is a bridge," Maya often said, addressing delegations visiting Earth. "It connects us, helps us grow, and reminds us that we are stronger together." Yet even as alliances formed, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Rogue factions, emboldened by Earth's defiance of the Zainari, launched attacks on weaker civilizations, testing the limits of Earth's resolve. Pirate fleets raided trade convoys, destroying cargo ships and leaving survivors adrift in escape pods. Planets aligned with Earth reported sabotage attempts, with critical infrastructure damaged or destroyed overnight. Each incident forced the UEC to walk a fine line between retaliation and restraint. Striking back too aggressively risked escalating conflicts. Doing nothing invited further aggression. One particularly brazen attack occurred near Proxima Centauri, where a mining colony operated by the insectoid Zetherians came under siege. Pirates, armed with stolen Vorthax weaponry, overwhelmed the colony's defenses, capturing hundreds of workers and stealing valuable ore shipments. When news reached Earth, outrage erupted. Protesters gathered outside UEC headquarters, demanding action. "If we don't protect them, who will?" shouted a young activist holding a placard that read, "No more silence." Inside the council chamber, debates grew heated. Some argued for immediate intervention, sending star destroyers to hunt down the pirates. Others cautioned against overextending Earth's resources, warning that every deployment stretched their capabilities thinner. Ultimately, the UEC decided on a measured response. A single star destroyer, accompanied by a squadron of support vessels, was dispatched to Proxima Centauri. Upon arrival, the fleet engaged the pirate forces, driving them away from the colony. But instead of pursuing the fleeing ships, the commander ordered her crew to focus on aiding the survivors. Medical teams treated wounded colonists, engineers repaired damaged facilities, and supply ships delivered food and water to replenish dwindling reserves. Images of Earth's soldiers working alongside Zitherian miners flooded the galactic media, reinforcing humanity's reputation as compassionate defenders rather than ruthless conquerors. This approach earned Earth both allies and enemies. Species grateful for Earth's intervention pledged loyalty, signing treaties that solidified their partnership. Others, however, interpreted the restraint as weakness. Among them was Emperor Kale of the Zenari Dominion, whose pride still burned from his earlier defeat. Though publicly silent, he seethed with rage, plotting revenge behind closed doors. Whispers of dissent spread among his advisors, some urging him to abandon his vendetta against Earth. "They are too powerful now," one general warned. "Attacking them again would be suicide." Kale dismissed the advice with a sneer. "Power is meaningless if it cannot be challenged," he snapped. "I will not let a pack of primitives dictate the fate of the galaxy." While Kale plotted, another faction took matters into its own hands. The Shadow Syndicate, a secretive organization rumored to control vast networks of crime and espionage, orchestrated a devastating cyber attack on Earth's communication systems. Overnight, global internet access collapsed, plunging cities into disarray. Emergency services struggled to coordinate responses. Financial markets plunged into chaos, and panic spread as misinformation flooded social media platforms. For 72 hours, Earth teetered on the brink of collapse. Then, Maya's team intervened. Using quantum encryption protocols developed during the war with the Vorthax, they isolated the malicious code and restored functionality within hours. When the dust settled, investigators traced the attack back to the Syndicate, exposing their operations to the galaxy at large. The exposure dealt a severe blow to the Syndicate's influence, but it also revealed something far more troubling. Earth's enemies were coordinating their efforts. Intelligence reports suggested that the Kryn Collective, the Draconis Hegemony, and remnants of the Zenari Dominion were sharing resources and strategies, forming what analysts dubbed the Coalition of Shadows. This loose alliance aimed to destabilize Earth's position in the galaxy, exploiting any vulnerability they could find. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the UEC convened an emergency summit, inviting representatives from allied species to discuss countermeasures. The summit resulted in the formation of the Interstellar Defense Pact, IDP, a mutual defense agreement binding signatories to assist one another in times of crisis. Member worlds pooled resources, establishing joint military bases, research facilities, and early warning systems to detect potential threats. Earth's Star Destroyers became the backbone of the IDP's rapid response fleet, patrolling key sectors of space and deterring hostile acts. "We are no longer alone," declared UEC Chairperson Elena Rodriguez during the Pact's inauguration. "Together, we stand as guardians of peace and justice." As months turned into years, Earth's presence in the galaxy solidified. Its Star Destroyers inspired awe and respect, serving as symbols of hope for oppressed species and cautionary tales for tyrants. Stories of Earth's wrath, the siege of Antarctica, the fall of the Zenari fleet, and countless smaller victories became legends told around campfires and broadcast across interstellar frequencies. Children played games pretending to pilot Star Destroyers, imagining themselves as heroes defending the innocent. Artists painted murals depicting epic battles, while musicians composed symphonies celebrating humanity's triumphs. But perhaps the most profound impact was psychological. Humanity no longer saw itself as a fragile, divided species clinging to survival. Instead, it embraced its role as a protector, a force capable of inspiring hope and instilling fear. The Star Destroyers, once mysterious and terrifying, now symbolized unity and resilience. And though the galaxy remained vast and unpredictable, one thing was certain: humanity's wrath had rewritten the rules of the cosmos. Far beyond Earth's borders, alien civilizations whispered tales of the blue planet's rise. Parents told their children bedtime stories about the day Earth's skies parted to reveal Star Destroyers. Leaders referenced Earth's example in speeches, urging their people to strive for greatness. And tyrants hidden in the shadows of their thrones muttered warnings to themselves, "Never anger the humans." For they were no longer the fragile, divided species of old. They were architects of a new era, an era defined by courage, compassion, and an unyielding pursuit of justice. Years had passed since Earth's skies parted to reveal the Star Destroyers, and humanity's place in the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. What began as a desperate struggle for survival had evolved into a legacy of resilience, innovation, and leadership. The Star Destroyers no longer inspired fear alone. They stood as monuments to unity, justice, and the boundless potential of a united people. Yet, despite the progress, shadows lingered on the edges of this new era. Old enemies plotted revenge. New challenges emerged, and humanity faced questions about its role in shaping the future of the cosmos. On Earth itself, life flourished like never before. Cities gleamed with futuristic architecture, blending human ingenuity with alien-inspired designs. Skyscrapers shimmered with self-healing materials, highways buzzed with vehicles powered by clean fusion energy, and hospitals cured diseases once thought untreatable. Poverty, hunger, and environmental degradation became relics of the past, thanks to advancements shared openly through the Galactic Outreach Program, GOP. Humanity had not only rebuilt its world, but also elevated it to heights previously unimaginable. But perhaps the most profound change was cultural. People from all walks of life embraced their identity as part of something greater than themselves. National borders faded in significance as citizens identified first and foremost as Earthlings. Schools taught children about the siege of Antarctica, the fall of the Zenari Dominion, and the formation of the Interstellar Defense Pact, IDP, instilling pride in their shared history. Artists created masterpieces celebrating humanity's journey, from fragile beginnings to galactic prominence. Musicians composed songs that echoed across species, transcending language barriers and uniting listeners in awe of Earth's achievements. Yet, even amidst prosperity, reminders of Earth's darker days persisted. Memorials dedicated to those lost during the wars with the Vorthax and the Zenari dotted the planet, serving as solemn tributes to sacrifice and resilience. Each year, on the anniversary of the siege of Antarctica, crowds gathered at these sites to pay respects. Survivors shared stories of heroism and loss, ensuring that future generations would never forget the price of freedom. These rituals reinforced a sense of collective responsibility, a promise to use Earth's power wisely and compassionately. Beyond Earth's atmosphere, humanity's influence continued to grow. Star Destroyers patrolled key sectors of space, protecting trade routes and deterring aggression. Their presence acted as both shield and beacon, offering safety to allies while warning adversaries against reckless behavior. Under Maya Patel's TPA guidance, the GOP expanded its reach, establishing research outposts and humanitarian missions across the galaxy. Teams of scientists collaborated with alien counterparts, unlocking mysteries of the universe and developing technologies that benefited countless species. One breakthrough involved terraforming barren planets, turning them into habitable havens for displaced populations. Another focused on universal translators, enabling seamless communication between vastly different civilizations. However, Earth's rise did not go unchallenged. The Coalition of Shadows, the clandestine alliance formed by remnants of the Zenari, Dominion, the Kryn Collective, and the Draconis Hegemony, remained active, plotting ways to undermine Earth's dominance. Spies infiltrated diplomatic delegations, feeding false information back to their masters. Saboteurs targeted infrastructure projects, attempting to sow discord among Earth's allies. Pirate fleets launched hit-and-run attacks, striking vulnerable colonies before retreating into uncharted regions of space. Though each attempt failed, they served as constant reminders that peace required vigilance. One particularly audacious scheme unfolded near the edge of known space. A rogue faction, backed by the Coalition of Shadows, hijacked a cargo ship carrying medical supplies destined for an impoverished planet. When Earth's fleet arrived to investigate, they discovered a trap. The pirates had rigged the vessel with explosives, intending to lure rescuers into a deadly ambush. Quick thinking and advanced technology saved the day, Drones neutralized the threat without risking human lives. But the incident highlighted a troubling reality. Earth's enemies were growing bolder and more creative. Despite these challenges, humanity's resolve remained unshaken. The UEC adopted a dual approach, combining diplomacy with deterrence. Diplomatic envoys traveled extensively, fostering goodwill and strengthening alliances. At the same time, Earth's military prepared for any contingency, running simulations and upgrading equipment to stay ahead of potential threats. This balance of soft and hard power earned Earth respect and caution across the galaxy. As decades passed, Earth's reputation solidified. Tales of its wrath became legends told in taverns, classrooms, and council chambers. Parents used these stories to teach lessons of perseverance and morality. Never anger the humans, elders advised young warriors, emphasizing the consequences of underestimating Earth's strength. For oppressed species, these tales offered hope, a reminder that tyrants could be toppled. For tyrants themselves, they served as warnings against arrogance and greed. Eventually, emissaries from the Vorthax returned, seeking reconciliation. Once feared overlords, they now appeared humbled and broken. Centuries of exploitation had caught up with them. Their empire lay in ruins, ravaged by internal strife and external enemies emboldened by Earth's example. Landing on Earth's surface, their delegation knelt before the United Earth Council, pledging allegiance and reparations. Images of this historic moment spread across the galaxy, sparking awe and disbelief. Humanity accepted their surrender, not out of pity, but out of wisdom. Earth chose to lead by example, offering aid to those willing to change and destruction to those who refused. This decision marked a turning point in interstellar relations. Earth transitioned from a rising power to a stabilizing force, mediating conflicts, resolving disputes, and championing justice. Its star destroyers became symbols of protection rather than intimidation, earning admiration from friend and foe alike. Yet, humanity never forgot its roots. Leaders often reminded their people of the fragility of peace and the importance of humility. "We are guardians," Chairperson Elena Rodriguez declared during a speech commemorating Earth's achievements. "Not rulers. Our strength lies not in domination, but in service." As centuries turned into millennia, humanity's impact on the galaxy deepened. New civilizations rose, inspired by Earth's example. Ancient empires fell, unable to adapt to changing times. And through it all, Earth remained a beacon of hope, a testament to what could be achieved when courage met compassion. Stories of its wrath endured, whispered in reverence by those who understood its significance. But more importantly, stories of its kindness spread wider still, proving that true strength lay not in anger, but in empathy. Far beyond Earth's borders, aliens gazed at the stars, marveling at the blue planet that had reshaped the cosmos. Some saw Earth as a savior, others as a rival, and still others as a mystery they might never fully understand. But one truth resonated universally: humanity's journey was far from over. With each passing day, Earth wrote a new chapter in the annals of galactic history, one defined not by fear or vengeance but by unity, resilience, and an unwavering pursuit of justice. And so, the Star Destroyers continued to watch over Earth, silent sentinels guarding a species that had defied the odds. They stood as reminders of where humanity had come from and where it hoped to go. In the vast expanse of the universe, few doubted that Earth would continue to shine brightly, lighting the way for others to follow. After all, the galaxy had learned one indisputable lesson: never anger the humans. For beneath their compassion lay a fire capable of reshaping destiny and the wisdom to wield it responsibly.